Okay, so this is video 3, and let me straighten out my webcam here. You can see it did finally finish. I had to restart it like 3 times, but that was my fault, really. The first time I screwed up and started here. The second time I started here, but I got the columns wrong, so it didn't go all the way across the way I wanted to. And then the third time it started and it started going, but again I got the columns and the rows mixed up. So I had columns where rows were and rows where columns were. But anyways, I didn't change the board. This is pretty much exactly the way it is. And you can see here that if you look, it's pretty much every half inch exactly the way I had designed it to. So there, half inch, there, half inch, there, half inch, there, half inch, etc. All the way down to, you can see it's accurate enough to get to even down all the way over here. It's still at the half inch mark. So we're good. This is every half inch. This is pretty much exactly the way I designed it to be. And you'll see like the 42, the 43, the 44, the 45, the 46, the 47. They're all in the middle of the hole. So it's working. Alright, so I got that, and now that I got that, I can actually start sorting my bits because I have all these bits to go in here, and I haven't had any time to actually, build one of these things, but this is going to be a great bit holder. And I didn't have to draw this. I just went in my program, mapped out what I needed, and you can see that I can go ahead and sort all of my drill bits out now, including my router bits, everything. They should all fit. And I actually have more in here than I have more holes than I do bits at this point. But that's good because that gives me room to grow, and the bigger bits I can put, on one side of it to keep it, you know, kind of keep it good. See, like these two, I can't use that hole, but that's okay. Um, it's all good. So that's just to give you an example of what the software can do, and you know, it's not perfect, the software, yet, but we're getting there, and I think honestly this is a step in the right direction for this kind of software, and it makes life so much easier when you have software that you don't have to draw and then put into another program and then put it into another program and then finally be able to send it over to get something done. With my software, I don't have to do any other separate programs or anything. I just get it done. It's a matter of just getting it done. So you can see this is just one simple project that you can do, but there's many more. Let's go over a few other things that this program can do. This is my new bit holder, thanks to my program. I'm going to keep that. That's a great addition to the shed, so to speak. And let's talk about a few other functions here. So on the screen over here, you'll notice that we can do boxes. We can do, okay, let's say we start at 0, 0, 0, and we go to 25, 25. It's actually 25.4.4. That would be exactly a 1-inch square, and we'll do online, so it's online of the square. We'll do a pocket cut and we'll do an array. Now, The array is based off of the point A, which is here, which is the lower left-hand corner. And that point A, if we were to go over here 1 inch, then we would be exactly at that point. So we don't want to go over 1 inch. We probably want to go over like 1.4 or 1.5 inches over. So 1.5 inches over. And then we'll make like 5 of these columns. And we'll do 2 rows, and we'll do 1.5 inches. That'll be from here up this way. 1.5 inches up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and generate the array, and we'll do a preview so we can see what it looks like. Okay, so you can see now that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have 2 deep, which is exactly what we set. If you look at the array when we generated it, we put here on the rows 2, and we put on the columns 5. And we put 1.5 and 1.5. See, that's it. So it's 5 columns. Columns, remember, are from left to right. Rows are from the bottom up. So from the lower left-hand corner towards the back of the machine would be your rows, and your columns start at the lower left-hand corner and they go right. Right? So you can see this. That's exactly what we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns and 2 rows deep. I hope that makes sense to you. And this is the way the program works. And if I wanted to run this, I would go ahead and click Run Now. And you can do the same thing with circles, slots, drill, and multi-point. Now the cool thing, well, you can't do arrays with multi-point. You can do arrays with drill, but you can't do arrays with multi-point. Multi-point is unique because multi-point allows me to choose a point, and then choose another 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 point, and as many points as I want I can choose. And when I'm done choosing, it will cut from point to point to point to point to point. So think of the first point as the starting point, and then the second point as the end point for the first line. And it's also the starting point for the second line. And then when you go to the third point, it becomes the last point of the second line and the first point of the third line. Hope that makes sense to you. Alright, so then after you get through all that, then we can go to we can do slots. Slots are just basically from point A to point B, and you can make an array of them if you wanted to, but you could just basically go point A to point B, and based on that you can put it the depth that you want, and it'll just go from point A to point B and cut it until it gets to that depth. And the depth per pass is up here, so you can choose how far deep each pass is. Alright, so past that, we now have engraved text. Now engraved text lets you do things like this. So we can generate a script like this. Now this will actually cut on the line. So in this case, it will actually cut on the line. So this would be great for a large sign. But if you want to go a smaller sign, I'm going to include these because these are free fonts that are freely available to include. And these will cut single line fonts. So you could actually just cut here to here, here to here, here to here, and you'll have like a single line font. Now, let's talk about the screen for a second. On the left here, you'll see a scale is 1, 1, and the offset. And on the right here, you'll see a center, lower left, upper left, etc. Right. The default is upper left, and that's the reason is that's the way fonts are built. in Windows. But let's talk about that for a second. So one cool feature that I have is we can center, which means that the X and Y and Z, the XY will be in the center of where the font is. So that will be the starting point to actually engrave the font. Alright, the next thing that you need to know is that you can rescale these. This is the actual X and the actual Y. So let's go to center, right? And then from the center, let's say we want the actual X, right, to be 100 and the actual Y to be 50. All we have to do is click on rescale, and then we can click on preview. Now, when we did, you'll see that the X and Y 0 is right there where the cross is. And this from here to here and there to there is now the size that we want it to. It's 99.9999. That's pretty close to 100. And 50 on the y-axis. So what this will do is allow you to skew the fonts exactly the way you want to fit exactly the pattern that you want. So I hope this will come in handy for you guys, because I know for me, I'm tired of trying to keep trying to figure out what the scale is supposed to be to come out with the actual. For now, I can just type in the actual and it'll recalculate the scale. All these are in millimeters. Everything in the screen is in millimeters. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. It's all in millimeters. Maybe eventually we'll have an inches screen, but it's going to have to be a separate screen because I have to reconvert everything back to millimeters to inches. But anyways, so that's what the engraving can do. So it can do engraving just like that. Very simple, very simplistic, and you can put this in the center of your frame with the center finder. So in the additional controls, I have center finders. Let me show you the center finder really quick. So in the center finder, I can move this machine. You'll see it's moving over there on the right side. Alright, so let's say that this was one part of the let's say this was one part of the board. I'm going to say that's point A, and then I'm going to say all the way over here to the right. Going to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, way past that line. Okay, not going to pass the webcam. Okay, so I'm going to say that's point B, and all I have to do is say go to center. And it goes exactly to the center between those 2 points. You can also do, which is really cool, the center of a circle. Now this was a lot of math involved, but basically if you were to find a circle, let's say you had a hubcap or something, and you want to engrave that hubcap, you could put that hubcap there and just define A, B, and C, and at that point you could click go to circle center, and it will figure out based on A, B, and C points where the center of that hubcap is, and you could engrave your text right in the middle of the circle. So that's just another example of how cool this software is compared to other softwares.